Hey, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're the Ramley Reviewers.
And today we're looking at My Hero Academia Season 4.
The latest season of, I think, one of my new favorite animes.
Oh yeah, this is a big one. We're on episode 85, by the way, so the season is not necessarily completely finished.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool,
there might be like one... there better be one more episode so we can actually see them play in the band.
Yeah. Anyway, this season's a little weird. It's got... Usually when I go to anime and... When I go to anime... Okay.
Yeah, he goes all the way to the anime. It's 5 miles from here.
When I watch an anime, they have like one season be one story arc. That's a pretty regular thing for, most shows to do. Mm-hmm. Some might be a little different in some ways, but generally that's just the rule. This one has 2, and it's unusual for that reason.
Yeah, though better to have 2 than to stretch out one beyond its regular proportions. Though honestly, you could have reasonably moved up the overhaul arc to stretch a full season.
You could.
Yeah.
Or cut some of the other episodes out in order to... But whatever. Anyways, this season started out with what could theoretically be called a filler episode. Specifically, a guy comes in and starts a journalist comes in and recaps a whole bunch of stuff like, Class 1A has been attacked like these couple times. And he has this thing where cameras come out of his body. Because that's how evolution works, I guess.
Yep.
No, seriously, the powers here make no goddamn sense.
Even sillier than X-Men.
Anyways. Go up.
Oh, sorry. We have a list here of the episodes.
Yeah. So it really starts out with the beginning of the overhaul arc. And the author of My Hero Academia has said that he was trying something a little different for this type of villain. And I'd just like to start out by saying that I approve of trying out new types of villains that aren't necessarily always the main bad guys. Because it can look kind of silly when you have the same guys attacking you all the time. They can't be so omnipresent as to make you wonder, okay, if they can get anywhere and spy on our heroes when they're doing anything, how have anyone done anything and they not won instantly by just teleporting into their rooms and killing them in their sleep?
Yeah.
So you need, more villains than just one specific villain. It makes it more interesting and it makes it more logical. But we're starting with Overhaul, who is the last remnants of the Yakuza. Because apparently when heroes started to rise up, the Yakuza kind of got their asses handed to them. A lot. See, because the typical methods of, now it'd be a shame if something would happen, kind of falls apart when you have a guy who can run at the speed of sound and has, rockets in his feet, able to kick you in the face.
Yeah.
So he starts by going to the League of Villains and says, hey, what does it say?
Oh, well, he says he's going to join their group, and then he gets there, and he's like, actually, no, I want you guys to work with/for me, hiring you out while considering myself a top dog, I guess, is more of his thing.
Yeah. Then he kills Magni, which I think was a mistake, because Magni was like a trans person.
Oh, the first trans person to show up, last 5 minutes before they're gone? Yeah.
No, Magni appeared in the last arc, too. Fought against the Wild Wild Pussycats.
Oh, I forgot about that.
His/her power, and that isn't just... That is... when I say his/her, I don't mean that to be offensive to trans people. That is because I genuinely cannot remember which one she's supposed to be, and quite frankly, I don't want to look it up.
Okay.
So it's not insensitivity, I'm just lazy.
Okay.
And it also doesn't matter because Magni had the power to make people of opposite genders attract to one another like magnets.
Oh, really?
And carried around a giant-ass magnet to beat people up with.
I forgot all this.
I have the remarkable memory for the stupidest shit. Anyways, Magni shows up and she tries to beat up Overhaul because Overhaul is threatening the League of Villains, which is apparently all about freedom. Honestly, one problem with the League of Villains is I don't think even the League of Villains knows what their message is. Because a bunch of them joined because they followed Stain's ideology, but they very clearly do not follow Stain's ideology. So I think their main motivation is just to do whatever the hell you want.
I guess. get power, all that. By the way, I looked it up while you were talking. Magne is a transgender woman, so do use female pronouns.
Okay.
Now we know.
Okay, use female pronoun. Okay. Wait, transgender woman.
Transgender woman means that you ended up with a female expression slash body slash whatever it is you changed.
Okay, well, that, admittedly, okay, that is good. Admittedly, the syntax is a little confusing, though.
Yes, well, we had to pick a syntax, so this is what they wound up. Transgender woman means you were born in the apparent shape of a man, and now you identify as female.
Okay, so, well, I've been talking a lot about Magni. Well, it doesn't really matter, because as soon as Overhaul
Magni's
touches her,
gone.
she instantly explodes. And I don't mean, like, just a funny poof of smoke. No, her blood gets splattered all over the walls. There was even, like, a neat little flashback where she said, like, one of her other trans friends who I think was a transgender woman.
I forget the flashback, so you just go ahead with it.
Yeah, it was like, I admire you for being so brave and stuff. And
yeah.
it was a nice moment. And then instantly she's dead.
Yeah.
And she never comes back.
Why couldn't we kill off some other person if someone needed to die in this scene?
I mean, I get it. You know, you needed to show that Overhaul was a threat. And I'm not saying that, if someone's on the LGBTQ plus spectrum, I swear to God, that's going to be like 80 characters
Just
long
use
by the time
That's
I'm
why we
90.
invented the plus. Just plus candles everything else.
Yeah. I get that they needed someone to show, this is how big and bad Overhaul is, but did it have to be someone from LGBTQ+? And I'm not saying LGBTQ+ should be immune to...
No, but when there's only one of them that we know in the story, that's what makes it, like, stands out. If there were 10 other of those people, LGBT+ people, and one of them died, then it'd be like, okay, well, you're not picking on the group. But that was like one person, and they're dead. And I was like, all right, come on, MHA. Do you know that 80% of Japanese people support gay marriage now?
I did not know that.
It's still illegal because the government's not listening to them.
Eh.
But, like, if 80% of people are on board, for heaven's sakes, bring it into the show. I'm sure your audience would love it. 80% of them, at least.
Ugh, whatever. Anyways... Overhaul also does a thing where he blows off Compress's arm, which, why he didn't do that to Magni instead of just freaking killing her, I do not know. But it's, again, this has lasting repercussions. Magni never shows up again. She's freaking dead. And Compress has a mechanical arm the next time we see him. He also managed to somehow nullify Compress's quirk, which no one knows how the hell he did that.
Ooh, that's a thing he can do. Now you know.
Okay, let's see. Then, Izuku meanwhile, at UA, back at the plot. There is we met Mirio last season, all of his awesome, naked, phase-shifting glory.
Yes. His Fallout glory.
Yes. And it's revealed that he studied under this guy named Sir Night-Eye. And yes, he has a real name. I'm not using it, though, because 1, I don't care. 2, I don't want to look it up. 3, I don't like the guy. But Sir Night-Eye was All Might's old sidekick, and his only sidekick ever, which makes it confusing because previous episodes also had flashbacks to the movie, so where David's shield fits into this, I have no goddamn idea. And in fact, later chapters, specifically the team-up episodes, spin-off manga, would show Melissa's shield in a mechanical competition with Mai Hatsume, so...
Maybe there's some sort... Did they actually use the word sidekick on S.H.I.E.L.D. before? Or was it just like he was working together with him?
He was piloting the All Might mobile in the movie, so that sounds like a sidekick to me.
Sounds like... Maybe there's some official forms that didn't get filled out. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, Night-Eye is a tool, and he's also really fucking weird. Izuku wants to train under Night-Eye because he wants to learn the art of prediction, which Mirio was able to use to kick all of 1A's asses in their first match. And we get to see some of the other kids go off to their various internships, which thankfully goes better for them than that work internship program did with Momo, where she was basically used as a prop in advertising.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that still pisses me off. Anyways... so he gets All Might's permission, and it's here that All Might reveals that we had a breakup and it was super awkward.
Essentially.
That is true. What happened was a little darker, but Horikoshi, the author, has stated that this is confirmation that All Might is bisexual.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not catch that from the thing. I mean, they broke up. It was like, I'm breaking up with my sidekick. Oh, well, thanks, Horikoshi. Thanks for kind of balancing out that random only LGBT character that was confirmed died from 3 minutes ago.
Plus. LGBTQ+. Plus.
I've also heard GSM for just gender and sexuality minority. That's only got 3 letters in it. Hey. Or queer. The word queer is making a comeback, I hear.
Just something other than that word salad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Izuku gets All Might's permission, and he's going to take his work vacation with, Sir Night-Eye, which, yeah, nice job branching out there, Izuku. First you train with All Might's teacher, now with his sidekick. Great job with, variety in your sources, man.
Yep. He's obsessive. It's his thing.
Also, I like how earlier they said, oh, he's going to try to be his own hero, and yet he still goes through with all this All Might stuff.
Yeah, wow.
It isn't until his third
process.
It isn't until his third internship that he finally goes with someone who isn't All Might.
Woo!
And even then, it's All Might related because it's Endeavor.
Yes!
The guy who's based his whole career around surpassing All Might.
I mean, doesn't everyone base their career on surpassing the guys ahead of them, though? That's not, super All Might specific.
Yeah, but he made it pretty specific in Endeavor's case, as in training his son to be a better hero than All Might.
It's true.
Mirio and Mirio takes Izuku to Sir Night-Eye's headquarters, where we see a girl in a skimpy outfit being strapped to a machine and tickle tortured because she didn't tell a funny enough joke.
That was so weird.
In the main lobby. At which point, I have to question Izuku a lot here, because at this point, I would just leave. I would leave. Just well, time to go. All Might, I'd like to get your recommendations for anyone who isn't a sexual deviant.
I don't know what's going on here. It's so weird.
So I guess that would rule out, Mount Lady, Midnight, and I don't know. Who else would be funny to have a weird sexual fetish? Wash. No, sorry. Izuku would not manage to measure up to Wash. Wash is God. And it's revealed that Night-Eye, besides being a weird, creepy pervert who has a tickle torture machine in the main lobby of his hero place... No, sorry, it's been over a year since I read this in the manga. I still cannot get over the fact that this is a thing that got past anyone. None of Horikoshi's editors said, hey man, isn't it a little weird that, you have this guy with, yaoi gigantic hands and Green Bay Packers hair have a tickle torture machine in your main lobby, or, I don't know, at all? And Horikoshi was like, no! No, I say! No. It is vital to his character. We have to include the sexy girl being put in a tickle torture machine in the main lobby.
Because it's really...
And no one questions it.
Even just from a storytelling standpoint, too, because it's not vital to his character. His thing is his relationship with All Might being broken off, and how he's all really stirred. He's actually worried for All Might's future, and then it's hard for Izuku to, make any inroads with him. Will this guy respect me? None of that requires a tickle torture machine.
Yeah, you know what also doesn't require a tickle torture machine?
Anything?
So, yeah, Night-Eye is an absolute All Might fanboy to a creepy degree. You ever see one of those stories about the stalker chicks who was an ex-girlfriend of someone, and so they have pictures of them all over the walls, and,
Yeah, or stalker guys, for that matter.
Yeah, that's basically Night-Eye.
Yeah.
Night-Eye, unlike David Shield, was actually let in on the secret of One for All. So, he's been training Mirio for a specific reason. Specifically, he wants Mirio to take the role of the next One for All and symbol of peace. The problem is that, Toshinori decided that the best option was to give it to a kid with absolutely no experience and no quirk and no knowledge on how to handle One for All, and is Izuku.
And it worked out, so good for him.
Yeah, it did work out. I've heard that the point of this arc is that Izuku is not locked into a destiny. He doesn't have to be the next symbol of peace. He's not written in stone. He can give it up if he wants to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
On the other hand, Night Eye's a douche about it, so I'm not willing to give him much slack. He basically says, okay, Izuku, now if you can take this seal from me, I will let you do your internship here. If not, you have to revoke your quirk, and... Does he say that? No, he doesn't.
He doesn't say revoke your quirk.
You have to, like, admit that Mirio was a better successor to All Might, and not you, and you have to leave.
Okay.
See, the thing is that Night Eye also has the ability to predict the future, so this game is rigged from the beginning. So Izuku loses, but he does so in such a way that meant that he deeply respects All Might by not putting his feet onto posters and stuff,
fun.
Which basically just exists just to say, oh, okay, so I'll take you on very begrudgingly.
Yeah.
Okay, then next up on there, Mirio and Izuku are doing a patrol together, and they run into a little girl who runs out of an alleyway covered in bandages, in a hospital gown, sobbing uncontrollably, terrified out of her mind, and oh yeah, she's being walked after by Overhaul, who shows up.
Yeah. And there's a bit in there where Eri is clinging to Izuku, and he, we get the narration of his thoughts. He's like, it's not normal for a little girl to be so afraid of her caretaker. Like, this seems abusive. Something's clearly wrong. But they end up handing her back over to Overhaul, which, in universe is a big mistake.
Out of universe, it is still a mistake, but at least bare minimum, you could argue that you can't just take a kid away from her caretaker.
Yeah,
Even if you suspect that there is an abuse going on, you have to, like...
The law should be more accepting of kids who want to get the hell away from their caretakers. Is what
I agree.
They should have a right to be like, I seek sanctuary or something, and like, cool, we'll take you to the police station, we'll talk this over, we'll figure out what's up. None of this, okay, I'll just hand you over. Like, I hate that.
Yeah, but on the other hand, how can you need people to at least check this over to make sure that it's...
Yeah, well, did he check it over? He did not.
Well, they don't have the right... I get where they're coming from a law perspective. Yeah. And I also get where they're coming from in a sense of this could be theoretically abused by people.
Well... Anyway, inside the universe, I'm glad that eventually they're like, oh crap, we messed up. I'm like, yeah, you did. I wasn't really mad at them for messing up. Like, I understand. It was like a few seconds they had to think about it, But it was like, you guys, you missed an opportunity to help a child. Which, again, in universe, they're like, okay, we're doubling down on helping this child once they realize their suspicions were correct.
Yeah, so that's okay. No, it provides pathos for the heroes.
Does, yeah, I get it.
Not to mention, Overhaul was absolutely going to murder them if they tried to get away, so...
Yeah, well, he tried to murder them near the end anyway, didn't he?
Yeah, but... Well, but at that... You know what I'm trying to say here. Next up... Surprisingly, this whole story arc is really good for Kirishima, aka Red Riot.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to call him Kirishima because I like Kirishima. He's cool. Anyways, up next is... The
Kirishima part, I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, let's go Gutsy Red Riot. Let's see, we got a bit with... Oh yeah, we get our first exposure to the quirk enhancing and quirk nullifying drugs. Kirishima is on patrol with Fat Gum, a guy whose superpower allows him to turn his fat into super strength, and Sun Eater, who has the power to turn into whatever he eats.
So he's gonna eat the sun. So.
No, I mean he has the biggest divide between the coolest name and what his powers actually do.
Yeah.
What is your name? Sun Eater! I devour the stars! What's your power? I can turn my arm into a cow hoof.
Like, assuming I've eaten beef recently. Yeah.
I can also get, like, chicken legs to scratch people with, and octopus tentacles if I've eaten octopus.
Yep.
So, I'm just saying, bit of a difference between what, the name and... anyways, the guy tries to... the three of them are on patrol, because work, experience, whatever thingy. And Kirishima gets shot, but because he can harden, the shot doesn't do anything. The guy fires again, this time he hits Sun Eater, and Sun Eater temporarily has his quirk suppressed. It's a pretty impressive fight where Kirishima beats up this guy despite him being on the quirk amplifying drug, Trigger, which means basically he makes blades come out of everywhere.
Yep.
He also displays his new move, Unbreakable, where he super hardens his skin, which I think is kind of a mistake here. I would have saved it until, like, closer to the end of the arc.
The end of the arc was full of so much happening, though. So
Right, but, like, when he fights again,
yeah.
you know. Let's see. Then everyone starts planning out, how they're going to raid Overhaul's base, because everyone knows that Overhaul is an asshole. It's just that if they tried to take him out in the open, there could be a lot of casualties.
Yeah, that backs back to that earlier scene. Yeah, so they figured out that he's manufacturing the drugs, and he's basically going to use that to control the whole criminal world. If you guys want stronger quirks, you have to buy from us, and we can depower heroes, potentially permanently. So that could be cool.
Yep.
And does he reveal at that point how he's doing it with the whole Aerie thing?
I don't think so.
We can just say it anyway.
Anyways, then comes Sun Eater's episode, where he reveals that he was Mirio's best friend, and Mirio was a big inspiration, and he fights 3 normal guys who were have kind of okay powers, but they have like big pride in their powers being just mediocre. We're trash, but we have bonds that make us strong trash. I'm like, okay, but that still makes you garbage. You realize this. I mean, as self-affirmations go, I try to go for more than we're okay.
Working on it.
We're mediocre. Yay! I don't know, just a little higher than. Anyway, Sun Eater wins, kicks their asses. Then Red Riot is the next episode. Facum. Oh, this one is one of my favorites. Anyways, it's about Kirishima, and it reveals his backstory. Specifically, his backstory is pretty cool. At first, his quirk was just, his skin tenses up a bit. But then he kept practicing with it. And it got to this interesting thing where he was in a school with Mina, the acid girl.
All right.
And there was a thing where a giant monster named Gigantomachia, who will come up later, was walking down the street, and it cornered some girls asking them for directions.
Yeah.
Which actually was more terrifying than it sounds, because this guy is the size of a building.
Yeah.
And it makes an interesting note. See, when Kirishima sees those girls in trouble, he stops and freezes. But Mina moves without thinking and immediately tells Gigantomachia some bogus directions and then pulls the girls out of there. Which I think is really interesting, because All Might says one of the greatest traits of heroes is people who move without thinking when people are in jeopardy. That's one of the best qualities a hero can have. Implying that Mina has one of the best qualities of heroism.
Yeah.
It also means that when Kirishima is looking up to see who he would idolize, he also partially looks up to Mina. And he admits this in the manga.
Yeah, I like that they develop these side characters. It's all too easy to focus on Izuku all the time.
Yeah. It also has him going through a bit of a crisis when he realizes, oh shit, I was terrified out of my mind. I don't think I can be a hero. And he sees a video recording of the Crimson Riot, or Red Riot, the guy who he named himself after, and he says in the interview, Mr. Red Riot, are you ever scared? Hell yeah, I'm scared all the frickin' time! Anyone who doesn't get scared when they're going into horrible danger like this is an idiot!
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. Although ultimately the episode is kind of a downer, because it involves Kirishima getting his ass kicked by a professional cage match fighter known for killing people.
Ooh.
It also means that we get to see Fat Gum's power for the first time, and he kicks the cage fighter's ass.
Yeah, that was cool.
But
this is all happening in the middle of the assault on Overhaul's base, by the way.
Yeah. Anyways, Kirishima actually manages to get the respect of the fighter guy, and
once the guy respects him, he's like, well, all right, cool. And he leaves.
Yeah, he leaves. Let's see. Next up is Temp Squad. Yeah, not much happens there. Wait, I'm going to go back up. Okay, let's see. Oh, by the way, Himiko, a.k.a. Yandere Vampire Simulator, and Twice, a.k.a. Deadpool with more issues and clone powers, have been lent to Overhaul's group, and they've been kind of infiltrating the whole time and been doing random crap. They start provoking the guys into doing stupid moves like attacking the heroes directly, and yeah, this doesn't end well for them. Anyways... here it is. Mirio starts kicking everyone's ass in Overhaul's like central group.
Core group.
Yeah. He starts beating up people, and he uses a move called Phantom Menace, showing that once again Horikoshi is a massive Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Meaning he phases through objects. He's darting around all of the attacks until one of Overhaul's goons gets his hands on a permanent depowering bullet and fires it at Eri, who is there. And I think
who is there, by the way, because we didn't tell you, they are harvesting Eri's blood, essentially, to make all these bullets. Which is why she's been kidnapped and has bandages on her and stuff.
Yeah, and it's not so much a case of, they're like taking blood samples. No, Overhaul is blowing her up and then reconstructing her.
Yeah, it's
and taking
horrible.
the samples from the blown up bits.
It's horrible.
Because Eri's ability is, well, she rewinds things in time. The reason why she was being raised by her grandfather, who was the former head of the Yakuza, is because she rewound her parents out of existence.
This is so spooky.
Yeah, and when Overhaul was testing this, he tested it on some lab rats. It showed the rats going from normal, then to babies, and then to not existing anymore either. Yo, Eri is freaking scary, man. And worse, she can't exactly control her powers. And because she did technically kill her parents, even if it was on accident, Overhaul's been using this to make her feel worthless her whole life. Like she deserves to get blown up.
Yeah, psychological abuse on top of the explosions.
Yeah. To the point where later on it's revealed that Eri has forgotten how to smile.
Yeah.
Not good. But anyways, even though removing Eri's quirk might actually be a good idea, let's face it, I don't want to get rewound out of existence, and I doubt anyone else does either. Mirio didn't know that and took the bullet for Eri. He thought it was just a regular bullet, and that means that Mirio is permanently depowered, a state that has lasted up to the present day.
That's impressive that they actually stuck with that.
Yeah. Anyways, and at the same time it allowed him to get impaled and stuff. Then Izuku and Night Eye show up, and they start fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. Night Eye gets impaled again. Well, another person gets impaled. And Izuku starts fighting, and he's going up to 20%, which last we heard he could only go up to 8%, one for all, so yeah. Then once he realizes he's losing, Overhaul starts team killing his guys, and then remaking himself with them and his reconstruction ability so that he's this giant monster that has everyone's powers.
Yeah, pretty scary.
Yeah, and eventually it's revealed that Izuku can use all of 100% of his power at the same time as Eri is using her power on him, meaning that she's rewinding the damage to before it happened, so he's destroying his body, but it's being instantly recreated, and he manages to beat up this kaiju that Overhaul has become.
It was awesome.
It was very awesome. So...
Then he wins. And I was like, I thought that guy was going to last longer. Okay, cool.
In the meantime, we get to see Ryuku, one of the top 10 heroes, who turns into a freaking dragon.
Woo!
Why is this story not about her? That's awesome.
Yeah.
A bunch of other pro heroes. Toga manages to mimic Izuku in order to get people to do what they want and to eventually lead to the death of Overhaul. Wait, I'm skipping ahead a bit. The League of Villains manages to get away completely, and the Yakuza is pretty much dismantled. Of course, that's not the end of it, because rarely in anime, Sir Night Eye got impaled, and this frickin' matters.
Yeah.
Normally it's just, we strap some bandages on you and you're fine. But no, he's dying. Though it took him an absurdly long amount of time, given that all the organs between his pelvis and the bottom of his rib cage were just freaking gone. But but some reason they said, oh no, he has to have a long, drawn-out death monologue where he reflects on everyone, even though that should be like, oh, no, he's just freaking dead.
Yeah, well, for story purposes, I'm glad he got to talk before he died. But yeah, that was pretty amazing how long he survived.
He accepts that Izuku's gonna live and stuff, and Izuku's gonna, like, eventually be a good hero. And his last words were to Mirio and about how Mirio is gonna be, like, a great hero someday, even if he doesn't get his quirk back or something. And then he dies, and everyone's really sad. And you know what? His death was touching. I didn't like the guy, but
yeah,
I
still
thought
a good scene.
Yeah, still a good scene. Mirio is still as sunny as ever, despite losing his quirk, and he's still training to be, Lemillion, the superhero who just punches people now, I guess.
Yeah, he's got that can-do attitude. Sort of thing. I'm sure it's depressing on some level, but he fights through it.
Meanwhile, Eri is going to be staying with Eraserhead, aka Aizawa, because Aizawa can turn off her quirk if she starts to lose control over it, which means she won't rewind people out of existence.
Yay.
Unless she rewinds him first.
He just has to look at her halfway through the process.
Yeah, that's fair.
In fact, it could be like, hey, can you rewind 5 years off my life? I'll look younger.
Anyways, so Eri has basically been semi-adopted by Lemillion, Izuku, and Aizawa. And we eventually get to see that all the other people who were involved in this are told, don't talk about it. You helped to stop this great evil, but, whatever.
No publicity for you.
Yeah, why though?
I forget.
So then it starts to cut back to other kids because, hell, we haven't seen Bakugo in a while, and everyone loves Bakugo.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. He's won several of the last popularity polls in Japan, which I don't understand.
I mean, I don't think anyone would want to hang out with him in real life, but in terms of his ability to do zany things and make for a fun show, I could see that.
Yeah, I just tend to like characters that I'd like to hang out with more.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, I admire Bakugo as, a villain type of character. The same way I'd admire Darth Vader or Lord Zed, but not as...
He's not a good person to hang out with, I'll give you that. Dude. He's really, really difficult to deal with.
Dude, Mirio is, 1,000 times better than Bakugo, and he isn't, offensively rude.
Yeah.
But, well, remember last season, Bakugo and... Todoroki did not get their license, so they've been doing extra exams in order to get it. And we get to see their license test, or at least one of their license lessons. Babysitting kids.
Babysitting kids. I love how they made something so epic that would normally just be, not thought of at all. Whoever saw, I don't know, Batman babysitting, right? He raised Robin, but, Robin transitions instantly into sidekick.
Yeah, but he raised, 5 Robins, though.
Yeah, but they all transition instantly into sidekick.
Okay, fair enough, but...
But so these kids are, unimpressed by the heroes and really unruly, and they're all figuring out what to do about this. All the kids all have pretty strong quirks. And they end up putting on a show to impress them, and then the kids are like, okay, you're cool. I'm like, see, there's a non-violent solution.
There's several issues with it. First, one good thing is that we get to see Cammy again, meaning that we know Toga didn't kill her when she used Cammy's form to infiltrate into the license exam last time.
Thank goodness.
And Cammy's kind of a ditz.
Alright.
He talks in, memes and stuff, and that's different. Mm-hmm. It's something I have never seen in an anime character before.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen it either. Huh.
Did see meme spewing Valley Girl. That's new.
That's new.
Also, we got that guy with the air powers, who I have labeled Commissar Airbender.
Oh, yes. I just think of M. Bison every time I see him.
Oh, that is better, but God, I can't shake the Commissar Airbender thing. Well, to each their own. And the kids are rotten little shitheads. Honestly, I think they should have sent a drill instructor to put the fear of God into these kids.
That's what I was saying, because I don't like anyone who does a drill instructor thing with kids. I'm glad that even with Bakugo there, right, it was eventually like, you know what we'll do? We'll just, entertain them, and we'll learn to get along, and then they'll look up to us, and everything's good.
I kind of think that there can be, there can be at least some middle ground between I'm going to go 1984 on their asses and let's just let the kids who can summon flesh-eating bullet bills do whatever they want. I don't know, maybe a little more stern than maybe you should stop that.
Well, it worked out. I mean, like, the teacher had previously been inept, and then, like, our heroes are better at this, you know.
Yeah, meaning I think the teacher should, like, go to class or whatever. Maybe, like, go teach high schoolers or someone that won't innately make them cry.
I don't know.
Look, it's like an entire class of Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes.
Calvin's so cool, though.
Okay, yeah, but you wouldn't want... But at one point, he ran out of his class, changed into a superhero outfit, announced loudly what he was going to do.
Yes. Isn't that great? Anyway, they did mention this was specifically a class of, like, troublesome kids for whatever reason.
Yeah. Also, one girl kept
kids.
calling Cammy a slut, and, like...
Maybe one of those things where the little kid doesn't know what a word means.
No, she pretty much knew what
Did
it
she
meant.
know what it meant? I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because she thought Shoto was cute, whatever. Anyway, so that was a nice diversion. Let's see. Wait, go up one. Oh, and then this one story arc that I really like just got cut down to half an episode. We haven't really mentioned him, but there is a kid named... Geez, what's the French kid's name?
Oh, the French kid.
God.
Along with the lasers. I don't know. I'll go find out.
Oh, God. I want to say Can't Stop... His hero name is Can't Stop Twinkling. And to be honest, he's been a
Aoyama.
Aoyama has been like a one-note character. And that note is, I'm fabulous!
Yeah.
Also French!
Yeah.
Which is combined a lot. I don't know. Has anyone ever seen a boorish French character? Oh, oui, oui. I haven't bathed in 3 days.
I don't know.
I eat garbage.
I don't know.
Yeah, like maybe like in that invisible world where the lizard people were stealing all the scientists, there would be a character like that.
Oh, that one. April in the Extraordinary World.
Yeah, that was still freaking weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's always just been a background character, but what I like is characters getting actual character development, even if they're not the main characters. But all of a sudden, Aoyama starts almost stalking Izuku, and like, okay, admittedly, the hanging out and looking in his window at night is really freaking creepy.
And then he gives him cheese, which in context becomes creepy because...
Yeah, like, he feeds Izuku cheese. It's weird. But it turns out that the reason for this is Aoyama...
you could do it either way, honestly.
Whatever.
It's kind of a blend.
Anyway, Frenchie McFrench had some of the same problems as Izuku when he was younger and his quirk was first coming in. Specifically, that his quirk was too powerful for his body. Mm-hmm. Namely, it would cause him, a lot of pain when he didn't have the proper support equipment and wasn't used to the power being output. And this is also the previous story with the babysitting kids also brings up an interesting idea that's kind of been a running theme throughout the whole story, even at a subliminal level. And, to an effect, will affect the future as well. The idea of the quirk singularity. That is to say, the point at which quirks get too powerful for the human body to withstand.
Yeah, I think they mentioned... I mean, none of the kids were harming themselves, but it was like they're unusually powerful for this age.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of kids that are way more powerful than they should be. And it's getting more and more common. So this is more evidence of that sort of thing starting to happen. And in a sense, it's also what's happening to Izuku. The power that One for All has is just too much for his body to contain, and that's not unique.
I wonder where they're going to go with that.
Yeah, I do too. Anyway, and then it's time for the school festival. Woo. This is the second major story arc in this season that I know of.
Yeah, basically overhaul, Gap, and then school festival, which just lasts like 5 episodes.
Yeah, basically there's going to be a school festival to let everyone blow off some steam. And for some reason, people are being dicks to 1A because it's all their fault that supervillains decided to open a wormhole into the secret training facility or decided to attack them in the middle of fricking nowhere and kidnapped their people so that and unleashed All for One on the Kamino Ward. Yeah, that's all 1A's fault, and not, I don't know, the people who were responsible.
I think it's that one guy is just telling everyone it's 1A's
No,
fault.
it was that there were other people. Bakugo overheard them talking to them. It's why he gave that speech about,
Yeah, but those other people may have been, like, propagandized by that one guy whose only character point is,
Monoma.
I hate Class 1A. It'll be
Monoma.
on his tombstone.
Yeah, that's Monoma. Oh my god. I do not like him. Anyways, Class 1B, however, is... Well, okay, 1A decides, there's a bunch of stuff we could do. And everyone throws out their own things. Some of them are, like, good ideas, like... Hell, Maid Cafe wasn't even a bad one.
Yeah.
Mineta wanted to do something with boobs, because, of course, he did. Then, Izuku wanted to do hero trivia, which, hey, you're at a hero school. That's not a bad idea. Ultimately, they decided to go for, like, a dance hall with a band and dancers and stuff, and it's nice, harmless fun. Can't have that!
No.
So, naturally, we introduce who I consider to be the single worst character, villain, in the entire canon of My Hero Academia. Gentle and Labrava. Dear God, I fucking hate these people. Because, what the fuck is the point of these guys? You explain them.
Okay, so Gentle Criminal commits crimes while La Brava films him, and he puts all this on YouTube, and his goal apparently is to be notorious. So he hasn't actually gotten a major following of any sort. Not that many people watch his videos. The people who do watch them say things like, wow, you just robbed a convenience store, what's the point? So there's some folks who share your criticisms. I think the real problem with Gentle Criminal from a storytelling perspective, especially having seen the whole fight and the climax, is they pump him up to be like as if he were a major villain when clearly he's not. Like, Izuku does his whole thing that he always does in the middle of a big villain fight where he starts flashing back to stuff, thinking about how important this is and how he struggled to be a hero from day one, which is 100% appropriate with, like, Overhaul, who could very well kill all of his friends and, like, destroy heroes as we know it, and
Also
kill
bring down Hero Society with his quirk-destroying drugs. Also, just generally he's head of the Yakuza.
Right. So, okay.
And then, on the other hand, you have Gentle Villain. A guy who goes, I drink tea and I'm a sophisticated villain, while robbing 7-Elevens and posting it on YouTube. Literally, this guy is a step below the guys who go, what up, YouTubers? Today I'm gonna unbox this box! Except he's doing that with, like, freaking cash registers.
Yeah, and he made a ghost of a point, like a real ghost of a point.
It's like a ghost of a ghost of a ghost.
Right, like, the company behind that convenience store supposedly did something mildly corrupt recently.
You want to know what they did? They put out food that was almost expired. Ooh! No, okay,
Right,
look.
so-
up to this point, here's the villains we've seen so far. We've seen Stain, the hero killer. A person whose ultimate point and goal was to point out the hypocrisy and flaws of hero society, saying that it's too commercialized, that the heroes are so corrupt and so self-serving. They don't even care about serving the public good anymore. They're just out for making a name for themselves. And only one man is good enough to escape his blade, the symbol of peace himself, All Might. Then we have Shigaraki, whose goal is, hero society is worthless, I will destroy everything. All of it is worthless, all of it must be destroyed. Which, okay, that's kind of a crap motivation, but
it's spooky anyway.
It's spooky, and it's a pretty good villain motivation. Then you have Overhaul, who wants to bring back the days of the Yakuza, when they mattered, and to bring order to the criminal underworld under his rule, to bring an end to the days where heroes and vigilantes and do-gooders would just swoop in and stop a criminal. Now they have to watch their back and upend the way that quirks work in the world. And then you have the Gentle Criminal. Gentle, and he's like, now, feel the wrath of my villainy, 7-Eleven. Your donuts are one day stale!
Yeah.
And he acts like he's like as big, has ideals that are really great. And we think, okay, you know, his villain and motivation is crap, but maybe his backstory makes up for it. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. Here's his backstory. He wanted to go to a hero school, but he sucked at that, so he dropped out because he tried to be a hero and save a guy. In the manga, they showed the guy bouncing off
There's
of
a guy who's about to fall off a building, we should mention.
Yeah, he tries to save the guy. The guy bounces off the thing just a couple feet off the ground and breaks his legs.
Right, so it's like so, by the way, his power is elasticity, and he can even air, like, make it sort of trampoline-ish. So
Yeah.
that could potentially save someone falling. And in the manga, it looks, apparently, he did help somewhat, just not as much as he'd hoped.
In the anime, they made it so this guy gets the hero that was going to save this guy gets reflected and, like, bounces off. Meanwhile, the guy bounces off and falls 30 feet to the ground, and what looks like one of those window washing platforms falls on the guy. Looks like this guy is fucking dead. And they're like, he's going to be in the hospital for 6 months. Like, Jesus, guys! I get that sometimes there's differences in adaptation, but this seems extreme.
Yeah, there's some good ideas in the midst here that didn't add up properly.
Okay.
I'd be happy after the whole huge overhaul fight to have a breather arc before, you know, presumably the next really powerful villain shows up.
Okay.
And we're doing the school festival. We're going to be in a band. I was glad for the intensity of the overall fight. And then I was like, you know what? I'm glad to see them just being in a band for a while. Let's, like, relax. Let's do some character development. And you could have this guy's a criminal, but make it clear that he is third-rate criminal. No one really respects him. He gets defeated pretty easily, you know. And this whole idea of a guy who wanted to be a hero but accidentally screwed it up, you know, that could be pretty sympathetic and interesting. And maybe not that same guy becomes a criminal, but that guy, whatever, needs to be encouraged.
Oh, but I haven't gotten to the best part.
Yeah.
So the best part is that once he reaches 22 and he has like a part-time job and he's like, oh, spring is nice. He runs into one of his old classmates who is a hero now, and the guy doesn't even remember him. And that was enough for him to just search through all his belongings to find the history of supervillainy in a book form, and then he was a supervillain. Then he gave like some really crappy YouTube videos about how there have been terrible villains before. All for One, this other guy, Destro, me. And that was enough to convince some like middle school girl to fall in love with Gentle. She's now known as La Brava, and she's like his tech geek person, but she still looks like a lolly, so
I don't know what's up there.
like, my big problem with him is everyone acts like this guy is a really big deal. But the most he does is rob convenience stores, post them on YouTube. Hell, the big he keeps talking about how he's going to invade the UA Cultural Festival, which is big because Aries going to be attending to show her, you know, happiness and joy and stuff because she's forgotten how to smile. And they say, like, after all the other events that have happened in the story, the first sign of anything bad that's going to happen, we're going to shut down the Cultural Festival. Which, you know, kind of pertinent at the moment because right now the coronavirus is, like, running around rampant.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of stuff is being shut down. Hell, right now, my school is shut down.
His Hero Academia got shut down. I mean,
Well, it's a technical college.
I know. I'm just saying.
But, like, the guy's like, I'm going to break into UA!
And apparently stand around.
And then, like, videotape it. That doesn't make you a master supervillain. That makes you an urban explorer, but annoying.
Yeah.
Because, like, at least urban explorers don't act superior to other people. They're just like, oh, wow, look, this is here. This is what an abandoned place looks like. This is what's behind the scene at Disney World. Mm-hmm. By the way, I highly advise you go watch some of Bright Sun Films things. He's pretty cool and has some really cool videos about abandoned things.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, so his goal is to break into UA and just show that he's at the cultural festival. And yet he's acting like, this is the thing that will get me into history books! And everyone's treating this battle like it's so serious. And all I'm thinking is, dude, if you don't like your dream, if your dream's not going to work, guess what? I wanted to be, an astronaut when I was a kid. Eventually, I realized, oh, okay, I guess I'm not going to be an astronaut. So you know what I did? I'm going back to school so that I can learn how to be an electrician. Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to learn how to make money and make something out of my life. It wasn't my original dream, but you know what I didn't do? I didn't turn into a loser supervillain whose best claim to fame was knocking over convenience stores and blogging about it. And people act like he's some sort of really great thing.
When we say people, you mean the fans, right?
Fans, Izuku.
Izuku has one line that was definitely off the mark. Yeah.
Yeah, he says, "My God, this was the hardest battle I've ever fought." Fuck you, show. He was not. You fought a guy. You fought a YouTuber.
Yeah.
You have fought the kaiju amalgamation abomination that was Overhaul with 100% of One for All's power running through your veins as Eri was rewinding your body so it didn't instantly disintegrate. You fought the Nomu at the USJ. You battled Stain the Hero Killer. Yet this loser is the hardest battle you ever fought? This guy isn't worthy of, being wiped on by All Might's boots.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how this could have been made much better. I love a theory I'd like to go with. Let's imagine this guy had failed at heroism, just like his backstory, right? Was really broken up about it. So he couldn't become a professional hero, but he determines to be a vigilante, right? And he becomes a little more pathetic. We can see he really just wants people to like him, but also, not just for vanity's sake, but also because he actually wants to be helpful. And he gets confused somehow or other and thinks there's going to be an evil plot at the at the school festival, right? Or cultural festival, as it's called. So he's going to break in, supposedly to save people. And he's just, he's got bad intel, he's just making assumptions, or he heard it in his horoscope or something stupid, right? So then Izuku has to stop him, but then explains very kind-heartedly, look, I know what it's like wanting so bad to be a hero. And you know what? You actually do have a cool quirk, and I think you could give it another try someday. Maybe you could re-enroll, even if it's been a few years. Don't give up on yourself. And he's kind of doing what All Might did for him, not like actually giving him power.
Yeah.
But here's a few notes of encouragement. And you know what? You may not have known this, but kids in the school, they can invite guests to come to the cultural festival. Would you like to come? And he just lets them in the front door, and the guy watches the thing, and he gets validation just from being in the crowd, and people are talking to him like he's something. He's somebody. Not like important somebody, but, oh, hi, who are you? Nice to see you. You're with Izuku. Oh, you're his uncle or something? That's nice. Right? And he's like, oh, okay, there's a little bit of acceptance for me. I won't be a loser forever. That's his whole arc.
That would be like 1,000 times better.
Right.
And the reason why I harp on this, why I keep saying he's the worst character, even in a world where Mineta and Monoma exist, the reason why is just I'm sick of people liking this guy, and I don't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
People like these characters, and it's just baffling to me when people are just, I don't understand them. I don't understand this mindset of Gentle and Labravas that inflates their ego so much. I don't understand how people like him. I don't understand why this guy mattered. I don't feel sympathetic towards him because I didn't get I didn't accomplish my dreams either when I was 22. And
you didn't turn to supervillain either. Congratulations.
I didn't turn into a loser supervillain. I picked myself up. I went looking for jobs, and I got back on my feet, and I decided I'd like to try something new.
Well,
it might not be your dream, but just because you suffer setbacks, just because you have a bad childhood, just because you have problems, it doesn't give you the excuse to hurt people. Ultimately, that's why I don't... at least I can sort of overlook that if the villain has a point.
If he thinks he's arguing for some philosophical something or other.
Yeah, because, I don't necessarily subscribe to, for the greater good, lesser evils must be committed.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, I can see where people are coming from. this, I see a guy who hit the despair event horizon and just didn't do anything with that.
Yeah.
They say to truly know a man, Firefly once said, to truly know a man, you can live with him for 20 years, learn his habits, learn his mannerisms, learn everything he says, but until you dangle him upside down over a volcano and threaten to cut the rope, you don't really know who he is. And when we see other people who have had that, we see heroes and villains emerge. We saw Shigaraki emerge from, well, it's going to come up later in the manga, but he lost his entire family because his quirk ran out of control. Whoa. And he was in an abusive environment. Wow. So he basically became an ultimate nihilist. We see what kind of man he was at that point. Izuku was told you can't be a hero by his idol, and he ran towards a monster anyway to help a kid who told him to jump off the roof.
Yeah.
We see this guy hit rock bottom in a way that is very relatable, and he doesn't arise to the occasion. He goes the lazy route, the low route. He hurts people and says that he's doing good while doing so.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the fans that like this guy aren't rooting for the concept of just give up and become a stupid, pointless supervillain. They're not rooting for the concept of, yeah, this is a healthy reaction to, you failed at your first dream. Honestly, I think they go, oh, he's got a different aesthetic about him. The gentlemanly thing hadn't been explored in other villains, really. He's not brooding when all the other villains are various shades of brooding, which is fine, makes sense for villains. So they just latched onto that, not for his story purposes or what he represents, just like, oh, look, that's new. I'm pretty sure that was the thing from their perspective. And you're taking it as a much, what it stands for, and they're not even thinking about what it stands for.
I think the problem with that is that there's a bunch of other villains and heroes in this show where you have to go with, what do these people stand for?
Yeah, that's true. He breaks a trend that way, and I can understand why that's frustrating. So yeah, he's been defeated. At least his arc didn't last super long. 5 episodes, 4 episodes, whatever it was.
Yeah. It's just I don't like him at all. And
No, I really wish they'd done the idea I mentioned a moment ago. The whole, guy who was trying to be a hero, needed some encouragement, was misguided. Because then I would love to see him show up again. That quirk is cool. I like the strategic, tactical things happening from that quirk. So I would love to make an excuse for him to show up again. And if he were intending to be a hero, then he could show up 2 arcs from now as he got some training, and now he's whatever, if not a pro hero, then at least somebody who can assist them in some capacity. That'd be fun. And we're probably not going to get that.
No, he hasn't shown up since.
Yep, okay.
Which I'm thankful for.
True, yeah, this version of the guy is not the best. But now they're going to be in a band! That'll be a nice breather, refresher thing after all this frustrating stuff.
Do they need... Here's one other complaint that I have about My Hero Academia. Do you need a threat? I would love to see just a filler arc where there's no villains. Maybe some training, maybe playing around with their quirks. Let's go to the beach.
Yeah.
Let's have a volleyball match. Don't have, like, a shark villain show up. just like...
A shark fin shows up and people are like, oh no, it's a shark. And the guy stands up, oh hi, I'm Mr. Shark. I'm just a lifeguard around here. He swims away. Okay, never mind. We're good. Everything's good. Yeah.
I get that it's a shonen manga and thus, there has to be a certain amount of action and...
Yeah, but we just had so much this season, so I would have been happy to relax.
We just had a storyline where a major character died, another character was almost permanently depowered,
that's another thing, actually. I want to see Mirio visit Night's Eye's grave. Have a scene there where you see he drops the happiness for a little bit. He is kind of reflecting on that death, going through a little bit of grief. Stuff that you can do when there isn't a ticking time bomb around.
Right. It's the reason why in the Lego Batman movie, my absolute favorite scene in that whole movie is the one where Bruce takes off, where Batman goes into his mansion and he stops before a picture of his parents and he says, hi Mom, hi Dad. I saved the city again today. I thought you might like that. And like, that's pretty much it. It's a very quiet scene where he's just looking at a portrait of himself with his parents. And it's just very quiet. It reflects, the core. I mean, the rest of the movie shows Batman being a giant man-child.
Yes.
But this...
There's something in there, though, that's
But at the
more
core,
mature.
that is what Batman is.
Yeah.
A boy who wants to make his parents proud. It's also why I didn't like the Tattletale version of the... Telltale? Yeah, the Telltale Batman games, because honestly, seeing Mr. Wayne as like a criminal is just kind of wrong. I mean, it works in that particular story, but it's not something I like, you know.
You can see that. Speaking randomly of Batman, because we talked about earlier the whole sidekick thing, I don't think I've ever properly seen Robin depicted as Batman's son emotionally. It's, like he adopts, Dick Grayson, but then they're immediately fighting crime and stuff. Like, what about all the emotions that would normally go here? Like, oh, gee, says Batman, I don't want to die, because if I do, my son will have lost his father twice. Right?
There was an episode of Young Justice where Robin was feeling down, so Batman plays basketball with him.
That's new. I want to see that.
It was like in the first season, but I don't remember when.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. Things we'll explore probably in some other video.
Yeah.
But that is most of My Hero Academia Season 4. Presumably there's a concert, and it's presumably pretty awesome.
Yeah. I should also announce that there are 2 spin-off mangas from My Hero Academia manga. First is called Vigilantes, which is about people who operate outside of the usual hero stuff.
Okay.
Basically, it kind of also shows vigilantes operating in the My Hero Academia world, including Knuckle Duster, a quirkless hero who punches people. It shows All Might being awesome in a couple scenes, including a scene where he punches and makes a tornado.
What?
It also shows Aizawa had a friend along with... Aizawa was part of a 4-person group with Midnight and Present Mike and this guy who's based on the legendary Monkey King Sun Wukong.
Oh, yeah.
That actually becomes important later on. So, that Sun Wukong guy, because he died. Wink.
Wink.
Sort of.
Okay.
He's sort of dead.
Got it.
I won't spoil more of it. The other is team-up missions, which thus far has been a bit of a...
Letdown?
Little bit of a... Like, it's cool seeing new My Hero Academia stuff, but my hope was that we'd get to see stuff from characters we haven't seen before, and yet pretty much everyone has been revolving around Izuku and Bakugo going to a new place and maybe having a new character.
Yeah. So, we needed more variety there, you guys. Come on.
Also, it's really...
Put more froppy.
It's translating really slowly into English. So basically there's 3, maybe 4 issues out. I'm not 100% sure. My favorite one is the one where this girl is looking for the hero who saved her life one time, so she goes to Fat Gum's agency, and they're checking around all the other hero agencies because the girl doesn't know which one it is. And it turns out that it's Fat Gum, because when Fat Gum uses up all his fat, he becomes, well, kind of ripped and skinny.
Yeah.
But she didn't recognize him because he is basically a football shape when he's in his normal form. And, that was cool. I liked it.
Alright. If I got a chance to read it, that'd be nice. So far, I've only seen the anime, which thankfully is coming out at the same time as Japan, so that's been convenient for us.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, quick before we go, you know what's really interesting?
What?
Looking at how the 80s and 90s handled anime compared to...
Oh, man. The old ads at the beginning of DVDs were like, what is anime? Anime is action, drama, not kids stuff. Like, they had to explain it to you. Like, yes, it's a cartoon, but that doesn't mean it's just for kids.
Localized dubbing and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, they'd remove all the blood and guts and violence and stuff to make it kid-friendly.
Yeah.
They'd rename all the characters into stuff that English speakers could pronounce.
There was that thing with the lesbian couple in Sailor Moon.
Oh my god, yes. It's where the trope kissing cousins comes from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune.
All right. Yeah, and the whole market not understanding. Oh, like whatever, the people in charge not understanding that there would be a market for this once people got a taste of it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we're looking at that. I'm remembering, like, seeing the old Deke dub.
Deke dub?
DIC. The company was called Deke, D-I-C.
Oh.
And they dubbed Sailor Moon. They cut out, like, a ton of stuff, removing all the sexuality and the blood and the gore. So that some people, like, died and got, like, horribly mangled, but, oh no, they're just away. In fact, they got to the point where they pretended that the big bad of the first arc was the one responsible for all of the seasons, and she was just somewhere else plotting.
Okay.
And they cut down the runtime so they could shoehorn in a Sailor Moon Says, which is basically the G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle thing.
Power Rangers did that too, I remember. Whatever they called it.
Super Sentai. I mean, they still do that too.
No, I mean, like, whatever they called the end segment in Power Rangers. Remember this?
Oh, no, I don't remember.
They would totally do a thing. And there's like, hey, kids, don't be a jerk or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm just comparing it to what we just saw in episode 85, which is about, like, a 50-year-old man beating the shit out of a 15-year-old kid, and Izuku has, like, visible blood and injuries.
Yeah.
And his name is Izuku and not, like, Charlie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the medium's come a long way. Animation in general. Like, BoJack Horseman deals with a whole lot of serious themes with talking animals, and it's an American production, so what do you know?
Yeah. So...
This is about it.
Yeah, this is about it.
Alright.
Anyways, I'm Sith King.
I'm Sonic Sons.
Signing off.